John McKinnon. All right, it's 8:30 and we're going to get started. I'm going to call to order the May. Don't call to order yet. Sorry. I got one step ahead of myself. Stand if you're able. We're going to have a blessing by Pastor John McKinnon of the First Presbyterian Church.
Let us pray. Eternal justice, eternal mercy. We gather today with heavy hearts in the wake of recent violence in our metro community. We lift up those affected by the shooting, those who are injured, and all who are carrying fear and grief this day. Surround them with your comfort and peace. Heal the wounded, restore the hurting, and hold to account for their actions those responsible. We also come together today with deep gratitude for the opportunity to serve our community. We thank you for Oklahoma City, for its beauty, its citizenry, and the opportunities it affords us. As this council begins its work, we ask for your wisdom and guidance. Help our leaders act with compassion, clarity, and a deep commitment to justice. Grant each council member wisdom to govern amid the conflicting interests and issues of our times, a sense of welfare and true needs of our people, the ability to work together in harmony even when there is honest disagreement, personal peace in their lives and joy in their task of public service, ears to listen to the people they serve. Help us all to reject hatred and division and instead seek understanding, healing, and unity. May this meeting be marked by respect, thoughtful listening, and a shared resolve to build a safer and more caring city. Guide our words, our decisions, and our actions so that they reflect the dignity of every human life. In your mercy and grace we pray. Amen.
I know, what's going on? Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, now I can officially call the meeting to order. And the first thing on our agenda that has anything is number 5, city manager reports.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We do have the third quarter visitors report. We don't have a presentation on that today, but if you have any questions, we'd be glad to get those answers for you. The April sales and use tax report is on this morning. And you look at this and you'll see we're back in the up and down cycle that we've had with sales tax and showing about 13% growth, which is way above what any normal growth would be. Definitely, there's several categories that were up. Definitely a reflection of the NCAA tournament and the visitors that were here for that. We saw a lot in the downtown area, a lot of growth there, hotels, restaurants. So there was a lot of impact from that. We've got a preview right now on May, and it's back to where it's just flat. So again, it's just this up and down, not a consistent pattern right now. But all in all, we're still $4 million ahead of target for the year for sales and use tax. So a good place to be coming into May and June just to see how we finish. And that basically builds our base for going into next fiscal year. So overall, great report for this month, and we'll just continue to monitor and keep everyone up to date as we're working through the budget. That's all that I have.
Item number 6 is Journal of Council Proceedings, which we can take with one vote. And it passes 6-0. Next is the request for uncontested continuances. We have 3 on the docket, 6C, D, and E. City Manager, are there others to add to that?
I just have one this morning. It's on page 15, item 11I1, and that is on unsecured structures. We'll strike this item from the agenda. It's item E, 1134 Northeast 20th Street. The owner has secured. That's all I have.
All right, item 8 is revocable permits. The Red Coyote Running and Fitness. Are they here? Are they here? Oh, there we go.
Good morning. I'm Jackson. I'm with the Parks Events and Permitting team. I was just gonna tell you guys a little bit about this event. So the Red Coyote Love Run is a 5K and 10K. It's going to happen on June 27th from setup of 5 a.m. to teardown of 11 a.m. And the run specifically will be happening from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. And it's in partnership with Social Capital. That's where the staging area will be. And the run benefits the CSU Youth Services. All right, thank you for your time.
This is a resolution, or revocable permit. Do we need a vote on that? We need
Yes.
a motion, and does anybody want to say anything?
Excited about the event, happy that we're supporting CSU, and happy to move approval.
And next is a revocable right-of-way permit for the Paseo Arts, and we have Colin Rosebrook and Amanda Bleakley here to speak.
Good morning. I'm Amanda Bleakley. I'm the Executive Director of the Paseo Arts Association.
And I'm Colin Rosebrook, and owner of Paseo Pottery.
Our 49th Annual Paseo Art Festival will be this Memorial Day weekend from May 23rd to the 25th.
We're going to have over 30 musical acts and 85 artists that are nationally juried. And one important thing is we'll have a free shuttle and free parking at the First Presbyterian Church for the public.
Any questions?
Well, I want to say congrats on 49 years. It's impressive work. And I want to make sure to invite not just Ward 2 in Oklahoma City, but the entire metro in the state of Oklahoma to the Arts Festival. It's it's an institution. It's beyond a tradition by now. It's truly an institution. And also just a personal thanks to you all. Where you all office host every week a weekly meeting for city staff who are doing the streetscape for Walker, and they did so with the Paseo as well. So it's not just about the Arts Festival, it truly is about community and its improvement. So I just really appreciate your stewardship, and I would move for approval.
Thank you, Councilperson Cooper, and we appreciate the $4 million investment that the city made in our streetscape. It's really beautified that, did it go off? Okay, I've been cut off, so thank you. Have a great, oh, there it is. Have a great day, and we hope to see you all out there.
Thank you.
I'll entertain a motion. And it passes 6-0. We'll recess the council meeting and convene as the Oklahoma City Municipal Facilities Authority, where we can take items A through F in one vote. And it passes 6-0. And we'll adjourn the OCMFA and convene as the Oklahoma City Public Property Authority, where we have a presentation on item D. Cheryl Bond.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. So, Let's let Debbie do the presentation, Cheryl, and then we'll let you speak. Is that okay?
Sorry.
That's good. Okay. So Debbie's going to introduce this item, and then we will have the presentation and then hear from Cheryl.
Sure. Hi, Debbie Miller, Public Works Director. We're excited to have this preliminary report on the docket. We have Patrick Schoenfeld with Studio Architecture, who's going to give you a little bit more information about it.
Patrick Schoenfeld, Studio Architecture. We're located 816 North Walker, just right up the road. What we're here today to present our preliminary design report on the indoor practice facility out at Devon Park and the Softball Hall of Fame. What we have is a facility. You can see the site. There were some real critical things that USA Softball wanted to accomplish with this facility. And what we've done is tried to get this currently. If there was, the athletes had to pretty much traverse through the spectators before they went down to the playing surfaces or down to the locker rooms. What we've tried to do with this facility is give them a seamless entry into the facility without that. What we're doing, what we're going to do is it's a 33,000 square foot facility with 2 indoor practice facilities. That with all the amenities, we're trying to get this into become a designated Olympic training facility. So we programmed the building to have all the amenities that USOC requires. You know, and what we're trying to do is have a premier facility. It's going to be one that the playing surfaces inside will be a synthetic turf, but they will have a sand-filled gravel base, sort of play very much like the surfaces that they play on at Devon Park. And here's what we're doing to structure this. We actually have the building designed with 2 major alternates that one will be the base bid, which will accomplish everything we want to have it as an Olympic training facility. But then there's an alternate 1 and alternate 2 to try and move USA Softball's offices over to this facility, which will then allow them to expand their museum and their retail area and upgrade, make everything very current. So that's what we're looking at is about, if we take all the alternates, about a $25 million facility that would be once we put projects out to bid. Some of the functional spaces that we have is, we have the west lobby. That's a split level building. There's 40 feet of fall on the site. So we've got the lower level that's at the field level, at the locker room level, that all the athletes will enter through. And then we have it at the plaza level, which is the entry into the stadium, so which that'll house all the offices. It'll make sense as I go through some of the plans. And again, these are all the things that we've added to make it an Olympic training facility, weight room, training room, hydrotherapy, equipment storage rooms, viewing areas and things. So we have to design this to a world-class plus the NCAA's requirements too, to maintain the World Series here. Okay, the site plan. What we've tried to do is get the building as close to the existing facility. And what we're going to do, you can see how it sits there with the existing Devon Park. And we've pulled the facility over as close as we can. And let's go to the next floor. Yeah, this is the base bid plan. And you can see the lower level, which is the top floor plan. And you enter through the west side doors. And then we have 2 team locker rooms for both USA Softball and for when there's an NCAA tournament, when the World Series is going on, that the teams can then change, warm up in the 2 practice facilities while games are being played at the facility. Then on the lower level, that's a 2-story volume. The practice fields are 100 foot by 100 foot, 35 foot clear height. Then on base bid, we just have a little media meeting room, some toilets, a vertical circulation, and some storage that works off of that area. What we're going to do, if you know that site out there, it completely slopes. So we're going to set that building on a plinth that is at the same elevation as the plaza in that area. Can we go to the next slide? Thank you. Alternate one is, here you can see it adds on from that area on the upper level, level 2, and it adds a large meeting room, a player's lounge, coach's lockers, and then some open office area and things that'll just get a skeleton staff over there. And then on alternate 2, you can see it wraps the other field, and then it gets all their offices with a lot of growth potential for USA softball. And so that's what we're trying to accomplish with this facility. We have some images, so you can see this is kind of at that same level. And what you can see, this is that existing walkway, but then we're creating this plinth, and then we're creating these series of steps that build up to that. So it gives people a much more a place to socialize and be part of this whole facility. You can see the USA entry there, which faces Devon Park. But what we're trying to do, you'll see that there's that big glass element right here. That is the media room. And one of the things we are planning on doing is working with the Arts Commission and having you can kind of see, you'll see it better in some of the other images, but it's digitally painted. We're going to have them commission an art piece that tells the story of, softball, USA softball here in Oklahoma City, and we'll have that digitally painted. That's going to be part of our public art installation. And here's one you can kind of see how it all works together on that site and things, and how that's going to kind of slowly come out of that sloping main walkway. And I have one more that I want. Yeah, and this kind of gives you a feel of, there's the view of Devon Park and just kind of that whole plaza area. And this is the athlete entry at the lower level. So they'll enter this area. There'll be bus slips back there, and for them, it'll all be secured back there by fencing. And then these are the 2 locker rooms, will be identical inside there, but celebrating USA softball and trying to give them a premium world-class experience. There's a hydrotherapy, and then there's a weight room that we have in there. And then these are what the indoor practice facilities are going to look like. They'll have all the markings. There will be 3 retractable pitching and hitting nets that will come down out of from above the structure, so they can have all sorts of setups in there for that. And each field has that same field. And then what we're trying to do at the end of this facility, have a world-class facility when the world comes here for the Olympics, make it a designated Olympic training site, and also secure that the NCAA won't ever move the World Series out of Oklahoma City. So I'll open it up to questions.
Tell me again the timeline for construction and completion.
If we get approval today, we will get our documents completed. And right now, what we're trying to do is get it out right after the College World Series, to bid it, because we think there's going to be an 18-month construction period. We've talked to a bunch of contractors to try and get that. And so I think USA softball has to turn it over to LA 2028 in March of 2028. So that's what our target goal is, correct?
Thank you.
Right now.
It's impressive, and what a timeline you're on. So thanks for being so diligent in that.
Yes.
I just couldn't help but notice, can we go back to just any of the slides? There we go. I think this is so wonderful because, it speaks to the importance of this sport and, of course, of us hosting these 2 Olympic events. As a City of OKC nerd, the thing that I really like seeing here is this, judges judge will, but I really like seeing this OKC Bond 2025 language here. I think it's, whenever I would talk to voters about a bond,
Yes, sir.
it's like their eyes would start to glaze over because a lot of people don't understand what that means. They understand maps, right? Some of them, not a lot actually, but a lot, there's that understanding. But I think it's so important that this sort of image of these investments is right alongside this word bond, because we've got to start making sure that our voters understand that maps and the bond, these are our 2 major opportunities to invest in these sort of infrastructure improvements. That will lead to those sales tax reports like you were talking about earlier. So I know that might sound like a small thing I'm bringing to everyone's attention, but a lot of voters, when I talk to them, they don't know what those revenue sources are. And so it's so wonderful to see your work alongside the work of the voters and the work of City Hall.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you all.
Cheryl Bond?
Good morning, Council. I'm Cheryl Bond. I'm the CFO of USA Softball, and I'm here today to just say thank you. Thank you to the mayor, to all of you, especially Councilman Pennington for Ward 7, and the citizens of Oklahoma City who passed this bond issue. Councilman Cooper just referenced. Thank you for believing in us, believing in Devon Park, and in keeping Oklahoma City the softball capital of the world. I'd be remiss if I didn't thank the amazing city staff who've worked tirelessly and passionately with us on this project to really design a unique and world-class facility. Following up a little bit on what Patrick said, this facility will now allow us year-round programming. We don't have to worry about snow. We can bring in younger age groups. We can do camps and just further enhance our economic impact on Oklahoma City. And so I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl. Cheryl and Craig Kress and the team are just great partners with us, and such great leaders. And honestly, it helps us in a lot of different ways. The NCAA has been after us for years to get something like this in place for the Women's College World Series, but it serves so much more than that, just how this facility operates in the future. So appreciate the partnership.
And with that being said, we can take items A through F with one vote. And it passes 6-0. Adjourn the OCMFA and convene as the Oklahoma City Public Property. Whoops, I'm one page behind. All right, which brings us to the consent docket. And reconvene the council. We have people signed up to speak. We have some people signed up to speak.
So we've got a presentation, and see if other council members want to call out.
Right. Do any council members have anything they'd like to call out as well?
City Manager and Vice Mayor, are there any presentations that we'll hear today before I make my requests? Thank you.
We have a presentation on item AR.
Cool, that was one I wanted to hear. Thank you, City Manager. Yes, I would like to, because I'm guessing some people have signed up to speak on one of them I wanted to hear, but there is the public art on 8H that I'd like for the residents to see. 8H, thank you. And I'd like to learn a little bit more and have the public learn a little bit more about AX. Please. and then BR. That's it.
I think he said AR. Can we also pull item B? I think there are people signed up to speak on item B.
Yeah.
We're going to go ahead and hear from the citizens on item B. So when I call your name, come up to the podium, state your name and your address. You have 3 minutes, and the lovely Miss Amy will let you know when you have 30 seconds left. So Joe Crodell.
Good morning. My name is Joe Crodell, 100 North Broadway, Suite 1700. I'm here representing Metro Towing and Recovery, one of the bidders on this Zone 4 Wrecker Services contract bidding process. Farrington Towing LLC also operates on the same property as Quadruple A Wrecker Services. And I believe you guys have a handout here. If you don't, let me know. But as you'll see on the first page, there's an aerial shot of the Farrington Towing lot that's also the same lot as Quadruple A, and you'll see that it is surrounded almost entirely by residential property and nearly 20 or 30 feet from some residential homes right there off Park Place. And then if you go to the next page, you will see Metro Towing and Recovery's location. It is right off Santa Fe, off the turnpike, completely surrounded by industrial uses and businesses. They have recently acquired this property and are hoping to get some kind of city contract so that they can get city wrecker cars coming in. But if you go to the next page, the reason I'm up here is because a requirement of the bid procedure is that all bidders have to be in compliance with zoning. And so they have to either be I2, I3, or C4, or some kind of special use. They have 2 PUDs on their property, and they're out of compliance with both of them. Both PUDs require the owners of the property to be members of the neighborhood association. They are not. Both PUDs require them to keep the same density and intensity of their use as when they were initially ratified. So PUD 920 was approved in 2003. Since then, their business has more than doubled. And if they get this contract today, their business will greatly increase and probably double again on top of that. But that is in direct violation of their PUD that requires them to seek an amendment if they are going to increase the intensity of their use. This is going to have serious impact on the neighborhood. And as you'll see, there's these PUDs were designed to minimize impact, but they are out of compliance, mainly the intensity of the use, but also there's a big outdoor light, if you go to the next page, that's shining directly into the neighborhood immediately to the
30
north.
seconds remaining.
As you'll also see, there are trucks and trailers visible from over the fence. That's a violation of both PUDs. Both PUDs require all vehicles to be hidden behind site-proof fencing, and there are multiple instances of trucks regularly being visible from over the fence. But I just ask that you guys consider these PUD violations in your decision to approve or disapprove of the commission's recommendation. So thank you.
Next is Burt Woodring.
Am I allowed to ask a question, Vice Mayor?
Sure.
I do have a couple questions.
Sure.
The first, let me just be clear. Love my neighbors in the neighborhood that are here and appreciate the fact that they're here. And obviously I don't want to be for anything that will disrupt the quality of their life and their enjoyment of their fantastic neighborhood. I also don't like the idea of giving people a false impression about what this city is capable of doing when it comes to zoning and what we're not. What we're not capable of doing is changing existing approved zoning and uses that are allowed. So if the towing use is allowed on this property, there is nothing that I as the councilman or this council can do on its own without the property owner's permission to change that. So I just want to be clear about that. So are you telling me that I just want to go back to the sheet that you have. So if you're telling me that they fix the lighting and they fix the signage, then they have the proper zoning to operate on this location?
What I'm saying is that they have, well, yes, those are just two items. They have greatly increased the density and intensity of their use. And so in PUD 920, let's go right here. There is a provision in this PUD that requires them to not increase the intensity or density of their use. And so their use, so you're correct that they are allowed to have this wrecker service where they're doing it. I'm not saying that they're out of compliance in that facet. What I'm saying is that they have already greatly increased their intensity of that use since 2003 when it was improved, and this contract that they are seeking will even further increase that intensity. So what I'm saying is that they are already out of compliance. That's the primary concern here, is that they've greatly increased their volume since this was approved and they made their deal with the neighbors, and that's already been pushed to the limit or beyond the limit, and this will even further exacerbate that volume. And so to bring it all, also 2 companies are operating on this property, but that's, anyways, I'll get to that in a second. But what was I saying? Excuse me.
It's all good.
The bid packet requires them to be in compliance with their zoning. And so what I'm saying is that they are already out of compliance with their zoning because they are pushing the envelope in volume and intensity of their use. And so to properly bid or to have a viable bid, they needed to have amended their PUDs to allow for this increased intensity of their use. So I'm not saying they're not allowed to use their property as a wrecker service. I want to be clear. What I'm saying is that they've already pushed the envelope beyond what the neighborhood in this city has already allowed them to do. So thank you for having me clarify that.
That makes sense. I guess I'll question the municipal councilor after we hear from our other neighbors.
Burt Woodring. State
I
your
am
name and
Burt
address,
Woodring.
please.
I'm just going to reiterate on what the attorneys have said. In the 1479 SPUD, 8.0 of it specifically states that the PUD provided, however, that the density and intensity of this PUD shall not be increased by moving 2 wrecker services onto the property. They have not only doubled, but Farrington Wrecker Service in '24 almost done $4 million worth of business. And I'm going to say the 4A Wrecker Services was existing there, done maybe $500,000 in that year period. So they have definitely doubled or tripled the use of the property. And on property 920 SPUD, they have, it says a special condition statement. It says the following conditions listed in section 11 and 34 shall not be changed or amended in any way except by action of the City Council after review and recommendation by the Planning Commission. In track 1 of the 920 SPUD, number 13 says that the 8-foot metal fence that screens the existing 4A wrecker service faculty. In number 14, it says signage. Its tract is developed as part of the 4A wrecker service, no sign identification. Number 16 says any structure built with compatible with the existing 4A wrecker service building. And in track 2, number 20 says there will be totally open access in tracks 1 and 2 and the existing 4A wrecker service property through this track of buds. 21. It says the screening and the 8-foot metal fence that screens the existing 4A wrecker service property. And it mentions on number 24, any structure will be compatible with the 4A wrecker service building. And so they have changed, they have sold the property to Farrington Wrecker Service in June of 26th. They got a DPS license as Farrington Record Service on this property. They, and Seawright Properties LLC on September the 29th, 2025 purchased the property,
30
changed the name
seconds.
of the property. And so at this point, I am going to say that they have completely violated SPUD 920. They've also violated that SPUD. So in the end, that leaves them less than 2 acres of property to actually have a record service on. The 4A went through this in 2000, 25 years ago. They had to get all of this stuff done in order to even do this. And now that the new owners have totally violated it, I believe that they need to go back and start all over. Now,
Mr.
granted,
Woodring, we're over
they've
time.
got 2 acres, but that's it. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, sir. Asar Al-Zubi.
Good morning, council member, city manager. My name is Asar Al-Zubi, 13415 North Santa Fe. I want to say we started with the process. Initially, we were considering a piece of property that was zoned completely I2, but the problem was it was so close to a neighborhood. There was a lot of concern from the community and the neighborhood, so we had to back up from that property, and we moved into a new location where we at right now. It's completely 1 mile away from any residence. As you all know, this contract is 24/7. It requires a lot. It's daytime, morning, early morning, late nights. It's 24/7 foot traffic. So we had make the neighborhoods and everybody happy at this site. And when we got our property, we had to go through a lot, get all the city permit. We got all, we pull all the permit, all the licenses they need, and they forced a lot of code, which is, I think it's very important because the city is improving, it's moving, so we gotta make sure our city stay beautiful. A lot of use has been used for decade, and it's time to change. So example, they had make us restripe our parking lot twice, so meet the city code, especially the handicap. We had a lot of fire inspection. We had everything what the city requirement, and for this bid, we met all the requirement that needed. It was nothing, they require 8 trucks, 8 driver, we had it all. So, and we have a very good location. We're, as I say, we're an industrial location, and we're located right by Broadway Extension. The Turnpike, as you know, it's part of Northeast Oklahoma City. And as you all know, I was reading a news article, it says Memorial and Western, it was one of the busiest intersection in Oklahoma City. So, if you think about it, we're half a mile away from that. So, as you know, we met all the city standards and requirement, and we're here. And thank you for giving me a chance to speak today. And I know your job is not easy, so thank you so much.
Peter Skameka. Dinivetta Davis.
Dinivetta Davis, 721 North Kellam. Good morning, council. I am here as president of the Northeast Oklahoma City Neighborhood Coalition. We are a collaboration of presidents and team leaders representing 18 neighborhoods in Northeast Oklahoma City. Garden Neighborhood Council, where this particular record service is located, is one of our members, and I think we have a couple of our neighbors to speak. And we are here to oppose this ratification of Farrington as the record service for Zone 4. Garden Neighborhood Council is a collaboration of 5 neighborhoods that have come together. They're the oldest neighborhood in Oklahoma City, and are one of the oldest neighborhoods in Oklahoma City. And there are a lot of elders, seniors in that neighborhood. Increasing the record service, the 24/7 service, the noise, the smell of diesel. I think it would really disrupt the neighborhood further and decrease the quality of life which our neighbors are faced. Like I said, there are a lot of seniors there. And so I think, we ask that you be mindful that this is a Northeast Oklahoma City neighborhood, and we continually face issues in our neighborhood, and just continuously. Environmental issues, all kinds of things. So I'm asking that you oppose this today. If you need to regroup it, whatever you need to do, start again, I'm not sure. But I know that the coalition did write a letter of support of Metro Towing, and the reason that we did that is because it is not located near a neighborhood. So please oppose this today and support our neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Davis. Bobby Thomas.
Good morning, Council. My name is Bobby Thomas, and I'm a resident of Garden Neighborhood Council. I'm also a resident of Garden Oaks Addition. I live at 1409 Northeast Standish Avenue. Farrington Metro Towing and Recovery is located at 3307 Northeast 10th. In the beginning, we had 4A record service right next to our neighborhood. They had enclosed cages where we could see the top of their property. We did not see the impounded cars, but since Farrington has went in with 4A record service, we have had heavy traffic. I went down and watched them. I'm right at the entrance of Northeast Standish Avenue. And they have huge, large trucks. They bring in large vehicles, large machinery, and I'm a senior citizen. Their traffic has doubled at 4A record. We never had a problem with 4A record. As a matter of fact, once upon a time, they were members of our neighborhood association. But since 4A record has went in with Farrington, they're no longer a member of our neighborhood association. 4A record, you don't hardly see the sign. It's a small sign, but Farrington has a huge sign. And so my neighbors have come to me, they're wondering, what are they doing down there? What are they doing down there? Their property backs up to one of our neighborhood streets. I can go down to the entrance and look right down at Farrington's. They have so much traffic coming in. Those big diesel trucks bring in all kind of heavy machinery and we don't like that. We want to oppose them having a contract with the city for 24 service with the city, 24/7. We don't want to have that traffic 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We also would rather that Metro Towing and Recovery, located Northwest 122nd and Santa Fe, can take that contract because we oppose them having the contract with the city. We don't have a problem with 4A record, but we have a problem with Farrington Metro Towing and Recovery. They recover all kinds of machines, mobile homes, diesel trucks, and we can see over the fence. That's how large the machines and those diesel trucks are.
30 seconds remaining.
We say, please do not let them have this contract. For our neighborhood does not want to have that contract with them. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Jason?
Assistant, no.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So Assistant City Manager Jason Fairbrush was involved with the RFP process. And I just want to remind you, this is an RFP process about services that are being provided. Having the proper zoning is a part of this. All the code issues or other issues outside of this, they do have the proper zoning. Lieutenant Shin was also involved in this process and had been involved through the process as we went through this. I'll let Jason talk about what has happened in this process. We went back and reset, if you recall, from the first time. We had a towing company that had been selected outside of the zone but could serve the zone. There were questions whether that was clear in the RFP. We went back through that process. I'll let Jason just talk about the process they went through, the visits they made to the site, and just supporting the decision or the recommendation.
Yes, sure. Thank you, Mr. City Manager. Jason Fairbrush, Assistant City Manager. Yeah, I was involved in the RFP selection process, and just to give council a brief update, Without going into all the intricacies and requirements, I think what we're speaking about today mostly has to do with zoning. One of the RFP requirements was that the winning proposer, if you will, would have proper zoning. And our understanding is that the location is zoned I-2, I believe, which is consistent with a wrecker service. As mentioned, there was a wrecker service there prior to Farrington purchasing the space or the property. So as far as the committee goes, we were confident that Farrington met the zoning requirements as outlined in the RFP. Again, I think there's been some discussion of code violations, and that is an issue that we deal with, quite frankly, all over the city. A code violation could even be tall grass and weeds. So if there are code violations, there's a separate process for investigating those and determining if there's validity to them. But I do think it's probably important for council to know that the selection committee did several site inspections. I believe we inspected 5, maybe 6 different sites. I was part of that site visit contingency, if you will. And I do recall inspecting the Farrington towing site. When I was there, when the team was there, it met our requirements as far as what we believe we had in the RFP. In fact, thinking of some conversation about the use or the density, when I was there, I believe there was actually more space available on the lot than what was actually being occupied by secured vehicles. It seemed to be a plethora of space, and was potentially one of the deciding factors. Right, we have to make sure that whatever company we go with has adequate capacity to handle what the contract is going to require. I'm not saying that others didn't have adequate capacity, but that was one of the things that I think the committee leaned on, saying, yeah, it looks like they've got plenty of room. So I'm happy to answer any questions, but I thought I would just speak generally to the process and kind of what we saw when we did the site inspection.
Thanks, Jason.
Thank you, Jason. My question is for the municipal councilor. What review, if any, have we done to the attorney from Metro's argument that we're in violation of the PUD? I understand that, and I'm sure this happens a lot, when you're dealing with the sheer number of PUDs that we have in Oklahoma City, there can be nuances to them. Having negotiated many of them alongside the vice mayor, there can be a lot of confusion about what's allowed and not allowed. Have we had a review of these PUDs to ensure that they're compliant with what's needed? If not, then I'd just ask that we take a deferral and go figure that out.
No, not that I'm aware of.
So we asked the planning director to take a look at this morning. I mean, when we got this yesterday. Had them take a look at this, and they've said that they are in compliance with zoning. I mean, like they have the proper zoning. There could be code violations that they could go out and check, but this would be more along the lines of there's a code violation, like one of the allegations or suggestions was there was lighting pointed in the wrong direction. There are things that can be corrected. So we still believe that they were within the requirements of the zoning, that they have the proper zoning.
So I would suggest and ask, especially since we've heard from our neighbors about their concern, that we have the attorney from Metro sit down with one of our attorneys, and let's clarify where we are, that it is an allowed use. If that's true, then we should be able to verify that. The other thing that I'd ask is that we go ahead and have an inspection by code enforcement to ensure that they are complying with what's required. So that would be the motion that I'm prepared to make. I also want to be clear with our neighbors. This use, whether we could vote this down, and that property is still going to be allowed to be used for towing. So even if you don't have the contract, even if Farrington doesn't get the contract for the city, that use will continue. So I just want everyone to be clear that any action that this council is going to take today or 2 weeks from now does not stop Farrington from operating at that site the way that they're operating. So I don't like giving people the false impression of what we can and cannot do. So that's my motion, is a 2-week deferral.
Which will be May 19th.
May I add just a couple notes. For me, what I'm hearing, and it was actually a little confusing because I see that people who are not on the same side are sitting on the same bench, so that was kind of an interesting moment. I was like, wait, who are you with? I don't understand. But I'm back, I see, and I have a map in front of me here on the screen, looking at real time where the streets are. You know, I think there's kind of two issues. One, we have a small business owner, right? And in today's economy, making sure you can put the food on the table and pay the bills, I take very, very seriously. On the other hand, we have a neighborhood, right, where we've just heard these articulated concerns. And so I would hope during that 2-week deferral that it's a conversation not just about potential code violations, which I think in some ways this is a little too cute by half. Like I think bringing up these code violations at this point, where this is one of the first times I've heard these in all of this conversation for months, right? Now this is coming up. That's not to diminish what the neighbors are saying. It's to say this feels like a lot of legalese language here. When I think when it ultimately comes down to is the neighbors have concerns about being able to see some of the business that is going on in there, not that it's an improper business or something like this, right? But just seeing that so close to where people are raising families, where seniors are retiring, right? I mean, it makes me literally question, as Councilwoman Neighbors and I are like literally looking at the zoning overlay stuff here. It makes me wonder all those years ago when PUD 920 and PUD 1479 were approved so close like that to a neighborhood. It really makes me question the wisdom of whoever made those decisions in the first place a long time ago. And we know a history nationally of doing this sort of zoning around neighborhoods where largely residents of color live. That's not my opinion, that is documented truth, where neighborhoods find themselves, not like the Paseo that you just saw here, where it's housing next to, you know, restaurants and bars and bookstores, but next to industrial zoning, right? And I just think that's a problem. But that's the past, but that doesn't mean we can't mitigate some of that harm today. So I don't think it's just about looking for code violations. I think it's very seriously looking at the violations, but then hearing what the neighbors are saying. To Councilor Pennington's point, and it's your word, feel free, if I'm stepping out of bounds here, you know, you just let me know, friend. But first of all, you know, if no longer is Farrington and Arrow part of a neighborhood association, maybe have those conversations about rejoining. You are a neighbor. Literally, when Amanda from Paseo Association was up here earlier, that is someone who coordinates that arts festival, but that is also someone who works with their merchants in their neighborhood all the time. It is someone who has residents like me sitting in meetings, working with them every week to talk about the streetscape improvements. So that's a partnership between merchants and the residents. Take that into consideration. I can't tell you all what to do. I'm not, you know, a tyrant, but I'm just saying, like, good neighbors can work out their differences, right? May not love each other, but they can at least be on the same page. So I would really strongly consider that. But then I don't see anything here about maybe higher fencing if now there's these semis. I don't know, I'm not over there, but if there are things where someone from Park or 11th, right, can look over and see very, very tall structures within there, maybe this is an opportunity to make those investments to raise that, to be a good neighbor. I don't know, but I just think that conflict resolution is always possible when people are sitting down and trying to, resolve their conflicts. So I don't think this is just about the violations. I think this is literally about what can we do to move forward here that makes you all a good neighbor, because to Councilor Pennington's point, the was it quadruple A service is already there, and it's what's already doing some of the stuff that is making the neighborhood upset. So what can we do to address things that might even be outside of the code violations that might just make you all a better neighbor? So I would really strongly encourage you all to, during this 2-week deferral, to listen to one another about what those needs are and figure out ways to address them. Yeah, so that's it. Thanks for letting me talk to council.
I believe we have a motion for a deferral on the table till the 19th. So do we have a second? And it passes 5-0. Next is AH.
Good morning, City Council. My name is Leandre Lattimore, Project Manager for Arts and Cultural Affairs. Councilman Cooper, was there a specific question that you had, or you just wanted to see the? Okay. Of course.
And no, I can see it in our package. I just thought it might be something that the residents might want to see for a MAPS project, what this is going to look like. Yeah.
Absolutely. So the project we have here is a work of art titled Pillars of Hope and Light by artists Jeremy Freeboth and AJ Davis. It's an artist team based out of Denver, Colorado. And this work will be for the MAPS 4 Mental Health Crisis Center. So this image here shows you a location of where that's going to be. It's 1200 Northeast 13th Street, right there in the heart of the east side. As you can see, it's right next to Talati there. So this building, this artwork is going to be associated with this new building, and it's actually going to be located inside of the courtyard, or one of the 2 courtyards that will be a part of this new construction. You can go to the next slide. So here's a rendering of the work. So this project presented a unique set of challenges, and I'll actually read here a little bit from the artist. So Pillars of Hope and Light is an uplifting sculptural installation designed specifically for the unique ecosystem of the Oklahoma City Mental Health Crisis Center. The work acts as a tranquil focal point, a beacon of serenity and solidarity, reflecting the shared journey of healing and resilience within this space. So they kind of alluded to what I'm saying with the unique set of challenges here, because the client base for this was also a very unique set of consumers, as the Mental Health Crisis Center refers to them. So extra attention had to be placed into the consideration of this work to reduce opportunities for people to commit acts of self-harm, for example. So we had to consider all of these things when creating this. We had to avoid things that may trigger like hallucinations, for example. So a lot of things that we may incorporate in other public art projects, we weren't able to consider as heavily with this. So the rendering you see here is actually not the first design that we received from these artists. We actually had to have several moments of revisions in collaboration with the staff at Mental Health Crisis Center and the artists as well. And this is the item that we came to. So the sculpture here is approximately 12 feet tall, and it'll be about 9 feet wide. And it'll be fabricated from powder-coated steel, polycarbonate panels, and illuminated polycarbonate tubes. So you can go to the next slide. So here's another rendering of it. And this viewpoint is actually looking from one of the bedroom windows that would be inside of the Mental Health Crisis Center. So as I said before, this will be located in the courtyard. It'll be illuminated at night, and the sort of angled perspective as you see there, where it leans slightly to the right there, is also a subtle nod to moving forward, which is something that the artist wanted to communicate. So again, we really enjoyed working on this project and working with the staff at the Mental Health Crisis Center. And although this did present a unique set of challenges, we believe that the artist definitely rose to the occasion. And again, we really enjoyed working with the staff there. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you or the rest of the City Council may have.
I got more than I bargained for there. That's really, I appreciate the intentional work that you all are doing, and just really thinking about unintended consequences there as we really work to address these troubling mental health statistics facing our states and our residents. So thank you for this work. This is wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next up, we have a presentation on AR.
Debbie Miller, our Public Works Director, is going to introduce this item. Just a little bit of background that as we've made changes, after COVID. We locked down the building where you couldn't access other entrances. We've, required that it's the south entrance you come through. We've now added security. And for the security purposes going forward, we feel like this is really our best solution. The team looked at a lot of different solutions of how we might be able to open up some of the other entrances. From a security standpoint, this seemed to be the best. So as we looked at that, it's like we felt like we need a refresh on that south entrance so that it's truly like an entrance as opposed to you feel like you're coming in the basement of the building. And so that's really what started this discussion around this project. And I'll let Debbie introduce the project.
Debbie Miller, Public Works Director. This preliminary report brings to you modifications to the south entry, and Patrick Schoenfeld with Studio Architecture is going to take you through a quick presentation.
Patrick Schoenfeld, Studio Architecture. Thank you for this opportunity, Council. Well, we were commissioned through our on-call contract to just study a better entry to your south side of the City Hall that currently it's ADA-ish, not quite, doesn't quite completely make for an accessible entry. It's functional, but it doesn't meet the letter of the Americans with Disabilities Act. So what we were commissioned is to try now, with security measures in place, is to create a little hub that will allow people to come in, be checked in, and it will have a much more secure location. As you can see, the project site is the south elevation of this facility. And what we are going to do, we've broken this project up into two phases, because what we're going to do when we take that south entry off, you will not have an accessible entry into this building. So what we have done, the first phase will be reworking the north side. That will just be a light touch, but it will add ramps and stairs to make it an accessible facility. Then that will allow us to then go to the south side and do the full construction that we want to do to build this facility. One of the things this building was built in 1935, and we want to maintain its historic character. We also want to be complementary to it. We worked with the Downtown Design Commission, and they actually had us shrink it a little bit and lower it. They wanted to have as minimal of an impact on the historic south elevation as is. So can we go to right now we've calculated that the south entry is going to be about a little under $1 million, and the north entry will be about $120,000. Things for a 1.1. That's a pretty conservative estimate, but we're not sure of everything we're going potentially of building with of this age we might run into when we start opening up walls. Let's go to the site plan. The architectural design, what we've done is we've pulled it away. There's the two granite monuments that have the historical light fixtures each side as you enter there. So we've pulled that. We didn't want to touch those. We wanted to leave those intact. So we've pulled the addition away from there and then created a ramp heading to the east and stairs from the west. Can we go on to the next slide? Thank you. You can see here, I've got you can see the two entries. The north entry, there'll be a set of stairs from the west side, and then there'll be a small ramp and then a larger ramp that'll get you down to the doors right there. Everything is 2 feet. This facility, the original structure is 2 feet below grade. So we had to overcome those. Then on the south side, you can see where our little addition is going to be. We've got a ramp that heads to the east, so you'll come in down that walkway, and then a set of stairs that'll come from the west that'll make it a very user-friendly facility. Go to the next slide, and this kind of just shows how it integrates in there. And then the next slide, this is a blow-up of that, and it shows we're going to pinch down the area for where there'll be a metal detector. It's an accessible metal detector, certain widths and things, and we've got an area for security, and then a little small waiting queuing area too in case there. And you can see the ramp and the stairs on the south side. All that is going to pull away, and then all the gray is the existing structure with the two historical light fixtures. We've got some renderings that we've done. This shows how it's going to integrate. We're going to try to match the limestone color of the existing building. So we're going to do it with cast stone so we can kind of control the color. It'll have a copper roof. It'll match, if you know, on this building, the very top has a copper pitched roof. So we're trying to do that. We've tried to take a small version of it has the similar proportions, just scaled way down to make it match this facility. Next slide. This is from the other side, just kind of give you the feel of how it's going to hopefully have very little impact. You can still see the historical light fixtures, and there'll be a little connector piece that'll be glazed with glass on it each side. One more. And this is close up. We're going to put a couple of light fixtures that are reminiscent of the historical fixtures there, but they're a modern interpretation of them. But you can see it's small, but it'll be fully accessible. Next slide. And this is just at nighttime. It's going to be well lit, going to have really nice lighting effects, and I think it'll be a real good addition to downtown Oklahoma City. And then one more. This one shows you exactly how that works with the metal detector or the granite barriers each side. You'll still be able to experience them and really kind of highlight them a little bit. And you have a security desk and a little waiting bench over on the other side that's all built in. It's it's all a tiled floor. So what we're trying to do is make this, we did study looking at trying to, in the interim, put some ramping on the outside of the building, not have to do the north side, but there are just so many architectural barriers here. You've got a huge set of stairs on the outside to overcome. Then once you get inside, you've got another set of stairs that we just didn't have space to put a ramp. So that's why now we'll have two completely accessible entries on this facility and things. So hopefully it's a real nice addition to the City Hall. Any questions?
So, thanks for your presentation. So, I just want to back up. None of the existing architecture finds itself touched, like it's...
Right. We're trying to, we're only touching right at the very south portal entry. There's if you notice, and so we're attaching to the building. We're actually cantilevering some structure out so we don't have to put any columns or anything in there to be able to capture that little thin connector. We want to make it as light, as have as little impact on the original structure as we can.
Okay, and then the material for that outside entrance, remind me what that is again?
It's going to be a cast stone, which is a manufactured stone, but what's nice about that, then we can, because the original one is a Luder's limestone. It's really hard to match from something that's 30 years ago, almost 100 years ago. So what we can do then with this manufactured stone, we can try to match the color as close as possible. It's kind of like what they did on this state capitol building when they added the dome. That's a precast material. and they tried to match that original limestone veneer thing. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to use the same profiles scaled down of the cornice that goes around the outside and things. So it's like a scaled down version of the existing city hall. And everything else, there's a granite base that goes around the existing building, but we've put it down so it's just all the limestone that's going to be showing exposed.
And then its endurance, this new material. I'm guessing since you're referencing the Capitol building, that it's,
yes.
Because I'm just thinking like, this is a very old building, which I love, and I'm just thinking that its endurance, though I know city manager can speak to some of the construction issues in it, but I'm just thinking what we're building on, what is its longevity? How long does it last before someone comes and needs to do some new work?
We think it's an appropriate selection for that. I mean, just because it's a copper is it has a very long life. We won't have any issues with it. And we think it's just a lot of people don't even realize there's a copper roof on the top of this building here. And so we tried to create the same proportions and use that as a way to handle the water too. We're trying to get the water away. I don't know if you remember last year, there was a waterproofing project that went around the north facade. Well, part of this project, we're going to complete that we kind of held off. We were going to do that, but that'll be part of this. There's some failing waterproofing down there on the southeast corner and things. So mainly we're trying to handle the water and storm water and things. It's not real, it wasn't working properly, and now we will have that all tied together nicely, and it'll be,
Hey, Craig,
there shouldn't be any
I've got
issues.
a question to you.
Yep.
Looking at the sign over here, we have a capacity of 163 people in here. And let's say it's City Council Tuesday and this room is packed. Are there going to be a lot of people standing outside waiting in to get into this smaller area, going through security? Or
I think that's something, as we look at this and work this, I think the intent would still be the security would be as we get through that area. It would actually give more area than what we have right now that you could wait inside if you were waiting to get in. Typically, even when we have a crowded council meeting on Tuesday, we don't have a significant number that are all at the exact same time. But if we do, it actually give us a little bit more lead time where people could wait.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. I'm kind of half joking, but make sure and call 1-800-CALL Oki, because we just spent a year without water. So if you hit a water line,
yeah, I know.
You're going to be in big trouble, little mister.
I know, because they've had really bad episodes. I know over at the print shop, if you walk over there, that waterproofing membrane is pulled away from so it's just, there's nothing stopping it right now. So, and I think the north side has all been buttoned up really nicely and things, so. Because I know that's been a problem for quite a while here.
Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you all. Thank you, council.
Councilman Cooper, you wanted to hear about AX?
Yes, thank you, Vice Mayor.
Good morning, Debbie Miller, Public Works Director. Councilman Cooper, I can answer any questions you have on AX. This is an agreement with ODOT to maintain lighting that was installed at I-44 and Penn. The state administration code requires any municipality to maintain lighting and signals that are installed by ODOT. So this is just formalizing that requirement.
Okay. Okay. That's all. Thank you so much.
With that being said, I think we can take the consent docket minus the one we deferred. And it passes 6-3. Which brings us to items for individual consideration. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm ahead of myself again. The concurrence docket, which we can take with one vote. And it passes 6-0. All right, now we're on item 11, items for individual consideration. The first item out of the box is in Ward 5, which is mine. I'm in full support. We don't have anybody signed up to speak, so. Ordinance on final hearing, recommended for approval, PC 10998, rezoning 9008 South Grace Avenue from O2 General Office District to R1 Single Family Residential.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. I will go ahead and move for its approval.
Why, thank you, Mr. Stone. And it passes 6-0. Item B, an ordinance on final hearing recommending approval for PC 10999, rezoning 7101 South Meridian from PUD 1905 Planned Unit Development to AA, Ward 4.
Has anyone signed up to speak? No. Nope. All right. This is just a zoning case, moving it back to agriculture, so I'll go ahead and move for its approval.
And items C, D, and E have been deferred for 2 weeks. And there is nobody signed up to speak on any of these. Item F is an ordinance on final hearing, recommended for approval. SPUD 1818, rezoning 13520 Blevins Boulevard from PUD 671 to SPUD 1818, Ward 7.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. I'm going to go ahead and move approval.
And it passes 6-0. Item G, ordinance on final hearing, recommended for approval. SP 606, establishing a special permit to operate use unit 8250.2, community recreation general in the R1 Single Family Residential District, Ward 8.
Amy, has anybody signed up? At this time, I'd move for approval, please.
And it passes 6-0. Item H is a public hearing regarding dilapidated structures.
No one has signed up to speak.
Moving to the resolution to declare the structures dilapidated. Need a recommendation? Passes 6-0. Item I, public hearing on unsecured structures.
No one has signed up to speak.
So move to a resolution. And it passes 6-0. Item J is public hearing regarding abandoned buildings.
No one has signed up.
So move to a resolution. Passes 6-0. Item K is a public hearing regarding the amendment to the fiscal year 2026 budget. Last week, we heard a presentation from Chris York, so this is just adopting the amendment. If we can have a motion. Passes 6-0. L is a public hearing regarding a resolution approving the 2026-27 second-year action plan and allocating funds.
Ben Davis is here with the Planning Department just to give us an update on this. Typically, this is something that would be on the consent docket to approve these grants, but this particular one requires that we have a public hearing. Is why we have it on individual consideration. Ben?
Good morning. Got a presentation here. Okay. So this is our second year annual action plan. So last year we submitted a 5-year consolidated plan to you all for consideration and approval, which was submitted to HUD. So this is year 2 of that plan. This year we are seeing modest increases across all 4 of our formula grants. So you can see our numbers here for next program year, which coincides with the city's fiscal year. So July 1st through June 30th. And this plan will tell HUD what we're going to do with all of our funding. Our goals in the action plan have remained pretty stable throughout all of our planning processes. So basically we're looking at development and retainage of affordable housing, investing in underserved neighborhoods, supporting public services, increasing economic opportunity, decreasing and preventing homelessness, and supporting populations with HIV/AIDS and the elimination of blight. So under increasing affordable housing opportunities, we have the Affordable Housing Development Program, which we're funding next year at $5.7 million. You'll notice that these numbers are higher than what our annual allocation is. This is multiple years of allocations that we're using for this plan. So under that program, we've got the Vida Nova project that you're probably familiar with. We have $1.2 million dedicated to that, $600,000 for Alley's End. And then we are currently in the process of a request for proposals process. We've got $3.9 million for that. We've received 4 proposals which are being reviewed right now by a committee. So we should be bringing those to council for consideration in the next few months. We also have our Community Housing Development Organizations program at $3 million. Under that program, we'll be funding 4 new homes in Capitol Hill neighborhood through S&I. We'll be completing the Village on Walnut project. We currently have 16 homes completed. We'll be constructing another 6 to finish that project out. We also have the Down Payment Assistance Program funded at $800,000. And then under retained affordable housing, those are our internal programs like emergency home repair, external home repair, and whole house repair at $2.7 million. That includes program delivery for our staff as well. Under Invest in Underserved Neighborhoods and Communities, we have our Strong Neighbors Initiative Public Facilities Program. So that includes things like neighborhood grants, tree plantings, our sidewalk projects in all of our S&I neighborhoods, and then program delivery for our 2 staff that run that program. Under General Public Facilities at $1.3 million, we have infrastructure, which will support the Village on Walnut project at $200,000. And we've also included about $1 million of that as a part of our request for proposals for affordable housing in case anybody needs like infrastructure support for a project. In investing in underserved neighborhoods and communities, we have public services under Strong Neighborhoods Initiative as well as just general. So under S&I, we'll be doing after-school program, our Safe and Tidy program, which is a neighborhood cleanup program, and our hazardous tree assessment and removal program. And under general, we've got Embark Sheriff Fair, which we've increased slightly this year, up to $179,000 for subsidized bus fares. And then our program with CASA, we also provide them with some funding for a staff position. Under economic opportunity, we have our Small Business Services program with Community Action Agency, and then our Section 108 Contingency Fund. Under Decrease and Prevent Homelessness, we have about $451,000 in Emergency Solutions Grant funding that is distributed through the Continuum of Care Board, Key to Home. They also manage our HOPWA money, which we have about $1.5 million in. Those are to provide housing services, supportive services for homeless folks, unhoused folks, as well as those living with HIV/AIDS. Under slum and blight remediation, we have our agreement with the Oklahoma City Urban Renewal Authority to finish out our urban renewal areas. We also have this Secure Vacant and Abandoned Buildings program, which is through the Development Services Department. And then we also have administration and planning at $1.2 million, which is for staff within our division in the planning department. And then our fair housing support services through Metro Fair Housing at $93,000. So that was a quick overview. I can provide more details if you need them on anything. Thank you.
We need a motion on that, don't we? Yes. I'll take a motion to approve that. Next up is item M, joint resolution with the Oklahoma City Economic Development Trust, certifying that Bad Boys LLC proposed feature film is eligible for the project under the Strategic Investment Program. And Jill?
Good morning, council members. I'm Jill Simpson, Executive Director of Oklahoma City Film and Creative Industries Office. And I'm bringing you 3 projects today, which is a really good sign for our industry. The first I have codenamed Project Rocco, and it is a highly pedigreed project. The script was winner of the Blacklist in 2023, which is a platform for unproduced screenplays where the industry votes on the best and the brightest, and this one won. It's based on, it's a story of Gary, a good boy who happens to be a dog. And he loves his owner, Cameron. And Cameron has, unfortunately, a girl locked in his basement. Gary is her only chance of freedom. So this is a story told through the dog's eyes. It stars a recent Academy Award-winning supporting actor. Filming, the dates have pushed recently due to casting, so we're now looking at fall instead of May or June. Sorry for we didn't have time to update the PowerPoint. It's being produced by 3 highly credentialed independent companies. Blumhouse, which does a lot of independent film and has an overhead deal with Universal. C2 and Neon. 100% will be filmed in Oklahoma City within city limits, including Filmmakers Ranch. 80% Oklahoma City-based crew. Anticipated Oklahoma City expenditures of $9,362,226, or 72.4% of the budget. We are recommending pre-qualification at 10% because they're spending over $5 million, which is the higher tier. Anticipated local expenditures of $8,482,968. More than 50% of crew will be hired locally, and actually they're hiring 80%. The criteria for 75% of filming days, they're meeting with 100%. The 50% requirement for contracts with vendors is being met at 90%. Filming on a soundstage is being met. They're filming at Filmmakers Ranch. They're doing some post-production at Apex Post. They're pre-qualified for the State of Oklahoma Film Incentive, and they're hoping to shoot a second feature here, which I'm actually meeting with them about this afternoon. Recommended 10% rebate would be $848,297. This breaks down to 130 local hires, and at 40 local shooting days, that equals 5,200 working days in Oklahoma City, 80% of Oklahoma City residents, qualifying labor income of $6,127,533. Again, 40 days or 100% here, and portions of post-production at Apex Post. Just a snapshot, 100% of filming days, 80% of our local crew, 90% of our vendors. And the economic impact, after we run it through our economic impact modeler, that equates to a total local economic impact of $12.9 million. Jobs supported direct and indirect, 317. Labor income, $10,992,007. And their qualified expenditures, again, $8,482,968. Taxable goods and services expenditures, that's $997,470. Below the line salary and per diem, below the line being the crew, is $4,006,791. Above the line salary and per diem, we have capped that at 25%, so we have reduced the amount we are rebating there to $2,120,742. Any questions on this project?
I don't have questions, but I would be remiss if I did not point out, this is, no shade to any of the other projects, this is impressive. Like, Neon, for those of you who aren't as big film people, every year, the Oklahoma Film Critics Circle, when we get screeners for movies, Neon is like one of the creme de la creme right now. It's movies like the Best Picture winning Parasite. I was just looking to make sure I had stuff here. Some of my favorites, like Worst Person in the World, Surat, that was nominated for Best Foreign Film last year. Movie I saw, oh, go ahead. No,
Can I just tell you that the caliber of projects that are circling right now is blowing me away. I read a script yesterday on the way back that I'll be presenting next time. The script is incredible, and it's a thriller cop. And these are films that they're trying to get A-list talent. The reason this movie's pushing is they're trying to get an Academy Award-winning lead actor.
Again, that just makes so much sense when you have movies like I, Tonya and Surat on their list already. So this is what we've been working towards. So just really, and we're not even close to done yet. So
And I will tell you that the Oklahoma City incentive is the closer right now. That's making all the difference in getting the projects.
It's just wonderful. Well, good job, Jill.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Ready for a motion? And it passes 6-0.
Thank you.
Item N, you're up again.
Now we're pivoting to smaller films. The next one I've codenamed Project Karma. It's an independent film, and it is about a young woman who catches her fiance cheating and loses her job all at the same time. She believes karma is to blame, and she embarks on a cross-country road trip to turn her fortune around. Again, this will be an Academy Award-winning actress. Attached to this one, much smaller budget. Filming to take place, this one is pushed to fall as well. And produced by Pipe Cleaner Boy LLC. 67% filmed in Oklahoma City. Local Oklahoma City line producer is attached, which I always like to see. Utilizing Oklahoma City facilities. 80% Oklahoma City-based crew. Anticipated Oklahoma City expenditures of $629,750, or 48.4%. I am recommending that they be considered at the 5% level because their expenditures are below $5 million. Their anticipated spend is $629,750. More than 50% of crew members are local. Actually, it's 80%. They hit the 50% mark for filming days. They're actually 67%. More than 50% of contracts with local vendors, that's 90%. They're going to be doing visual effects, re-recording, sound mix at One Set Studio. So again, this is great because it's spreading around the work to another studio. Pre-qualified for the state rebate. Recommended rebate allocation at 5% is $31,488. I don't know why I left 10% there. Sorry about that. They're hiring 75% crew locally, or 75 crew members locally over 10 days of filming in Oklahoma City, so that's 750 work days. 80% Oklahoma City residents. Qualifying labor income, $313,650. They're utilizing One Set Studio on 9th Street. And the snapshot is 67% of filming days here, 80% of local crew, 90% of vendors. The economic impact of this movie, the total impact is $1.44 million. Jobs supported direct and indirect are 200. Labor income, $590,521. Qualified expenditures, $629,750. Taxable goods and services, $88,150. Below the line salary and per diem, $285,650. Above the line, $28,000. Any questions?
Thank you, ma'am. Ready for a motion? And it passes 5-0.
One thing to add before I go into the last application. All of these 3 applications are still under the initial $3 million, and that will leave us a balance of $138,286 before we tap into the next $5 million that was part of the GO bond. So we're in good shape. The next one I've codenamed Project Long Table, and this is season 2. This is exactly what we like to see here. It's a local company, it's Filmmakers Ranch. I brought you season 1 in January, and they got through that one. They're ready to do 20 more half-hour episodes of a scripted TV talk show where they gather agents, producers, editors, crew to talk about the experience of making movies. Their goal is to get it on some kind of streaming platform where it'll be probably subscription-based. Filming to take place in June. It's Filmmakers Table, LLC, which is Filmmakers Ranch. 100% filmed there, 100% local crew. Anticipated Oklahoma City expenditures totaling $784,736. I am recommending this one. Again, I'm sorry I didn't change that to 5%. It is recommended, since it's 500,000 and below, at 5%. I'm sorry. Oh, it is 10%. I'm sorry. Thank you, Joanna. This is a TV show, so they only have to hit 500,000. I'm sorry. So I'm recommending 10% for them because TV shows are different thresholds than feature films. So they are hitting 784, 736. They're spending at least 500,000. More than 50% of crew local. It's actually 100%. More than 75% of filming days, they're actually filming 100%. More than 50% of contracts with local vendors, they're actually 100%. They're usually utilizing Filmmakers Ranch, Apex Post, and they're pre-qualified for the state rebate. So at 10%, the 22 episodes would qualify for $78,474. They're hiring 26 local crew members over 8 days, so that equals 208 days. 100% Oklahoma City residents. Qualifying labor income, $350,960. And they're using Apex Post for 100%. So you see the snapshot, it's 100% local. The economic impact, total local economic impact, 1.7 million. Jobs supported, direct and indirect, is 71. Labor income, 626,781. Qualified expenditures, the total is 784, 736, and that breaks down to taxable goods and services of $33,919. Below the line salary and per diem, $168,213. Above the line salary and per diem, $182,747. Any questions?
Jill, has the existing, the first season, so that has not aired yet?
It
We're still
hasn't,
looking
and,
for it?
and when I find out, I can let you know.
Okay.
And if anybody ever wants to go visit set, I mean, I could set up, if I have some advance notice, I can try to set up set visits for you guys to come out and see it. I know Mayor Holt went to see Twisters when they were here.
Craig's already making his jokes. Yes, that neon Blumhouse one, sign me up.
That'll be right up your alley.
Yes, as someone who saw a similar movie, Good Boy, last year, that was one of my favorites, and cried and was scared. So let's do it. Thank you.
I think we're ready for a motion. And it passes 5-0.
Thank you so much.
All right. Item P, joint resolution with the Oklahoma City Water Utilities Trust. Do we need a presentation, or can we just take a motion? Just take a motion on that? And it passes 5-0. Item Q, we need to enter into executive session. Need a motion for that. And that passes 5-0. And we'll do that at the end. Item R, claims recommended for denial. And that passes 5-0. Item S, claims recommended for approval. Need a motion? And that passes 5-0. All right, comments from council. Councilman Cooper.
Yes, thank you, Vice Mayor. I just wanted to, up 2 items. I wanted to say thank you to the residents who joined us here at City Hall last Thursday for a faith-based conversation around homelessness. This was really an important event, but it was something that I always refer to him again as our Ward 2 Council Chief of Staff, Boyd Fulton. We reached out to every single place in Ward 2 that was zoned for religious services. So it was interfaith. It did not matter whether Hindu, Buddhist, Muslim, Christian, Jewish, whatever you are, you were invited. You had a seat at that table. And I just really want to commend Boyd for that work in inviting everybody. We will be following up, in fact, with the people who didn't attend. And I actually want to thank Vice Mayors who paved the way for this when you did a similar event in Ward 5. So there's your flowers. But I just wanted to also thank, Shannon and Elizabeth and Rachel and Erica for joining us, Key to Home and city staff for the panel portion of that conversation. Of course, the residents who attended for the Q&A, Justin from Tulsa, who came down, and he's doing really interesting work. And it's something that we've now connected him with staff. But so he has this faith-based organization there. He's a Christian, and they have built sports facilities, a community center, multi-use housing, right? And he used a word, he and I met, Corey Hall from City Care had suggested him to me. And he and I met on a Zoom call for about an hour the month before. he thinks of his work as a parish, right? He thinks of his work as there's the church, and the church has a biblical responsibility to everything around it, like in its immediate vicinity, the schools, the neighborhoods. I mean, it was an incredible moment. I don't share his faith, but I share his works and his passion. And we just, for an hour, could not stop speaking with each other. And then we had lunch when he came down to participate in the forum. And for me, I don't care what your faith is. If you want to do these works and connect people experiencing homelessness to housing and stabilizing community support services, bring it on. And I just see this as a continuation of the work that the city and I started when we hosted I want to say around 400 people who attended our Ward 2 homelessness meetup during Youth Homelessness Awareness Month at the Tower. So this isn't just going toward the faith community. We started at that larger, right, community-wide, and now we're going to start drilling into the different communities that call Ward 2 home to try and bring us all on board. It was simple things also, like I'm not asking every place of worship to think of themselves as a parish yet, but I am saying that we have opportunities to let people in those respective congregations know that when someone's experiencing homelessness, that their congregants should know to reach out to the Action Center, right, to report that person. And a lot of people don't know that. And so that was information we were able to share. And then Shannon was able to share about the importance of affordable housing. And a lot of the people who were in attendance that day did not know the role that affordable housing plays in homelessness, and they really welcomed that information. So I just want to thank everyone for coordinating that. I thought that was an important step, but we have a lot of steps left to go there. Really, Craig would like to make sure you get a chance to talk with Justin too. Yep. And he's got got a church up there in the right south of the Britton district who are wanting to kind of start emulating his work. And so we're going to meet with them and see what's possible. And again, I don't care if you're a mosque or a synagogue or a church, bring it on, let's do this. We got some all hands on deck moments. Secondly, I wanted to thank the Ward 2 Youth Council and really all the Youth Council for coming into Ward 2 last Friday. I was moving between coordinating final exams because we're in finals week this week, but as soon as I left campus, I went and had lunch with them at the Lido. And I just got to ask them questions as they're heading into graduation, like what's on their mind. And they're really concerned about online bullying, how easy it is for people to go online and just start bullying people and not recognize the consequences. One of the students is a student Mustang. And we remember a couple years ago in the news, someone took their life as a result of the bullying. And so hearing from a student, sharing that back with me, and then when I asked them, well, what are your solutions? They're like, well, we should have like at least classes where we talk about conflict resolution, where we literally have workshops. Not just talking at the students, but literal workshops where they walk them through, like, here's the consequences of what happens when we go on Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram, and start saying some of the things that we say, right? And I even asked them, it's like, well, won't some of the students tune out? And they're like, not if you make it interactive and engaging. So I just want to speak that into existence as we're thinking about youth centers, right? How can we be proactive in coordinating with the school districts? So that was something that was really heavy on their mind. And it came back to my mind this weekend when we saw the news of the shooting that happened, and a lot of young people up there. So if we can kind of start catching them a bit earlier, right? So anyway, I just wanted to say thanks to those students for actually talking to an old man like me and giving me some ideas. That's all. Thanks.
Ward 3. Ward 7.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. I just want to say thank you to our city staff for their help with the Ward 7 town hall that we had last Thursday. It was very well attended. And so I, of course, want to thank Debbie Martin, as always, for all that she does in coordinating. But we had Andrea Grayson with the Public Safety Partnership gave a few remarks. People loved hearing about mobile integrated health and the impact of that. We just can't tell enough people about that. And Adam Paluca talking about the IMSA Cares program. People were really excited about that. And thanks to the conversation we had with IMSA, I made sure to mention that if you're a renter, you can still get access to IMSA Cares. And so that was a big point to talk about at the town hall. We had a panel with Debbie Miller, Brock Rowe, Jason Fairbrush, and Chief Ron Basie. They did an outstanding job. Like, you could tell as we were looking at the audience, people's responses to just getting more information about what we're doing around code enforcement, the GeoBond investments, even the future of One Transit. It was just really a great conversation, and so I'm really grateful. We have a great city staff. Thank you, Craig, and just thank you to all of them for all the great work.
Ward 8.
Nothing today, thank you.
I'd like to echo Councilman Cooper. I got to host the youth council in Ward 5 a month ago, and it really gives me hope for the future. The kids that come through the youth council, most of them, he's busy on his phone. Never mind, I was picking on you, Kamal. No, we toured the Bridges facility for the homeless youth down in South Oklahoma City, and they were very engaged and asked lots of questions. And last year's youth council was just as engaged in the year before, so it's a great, great organization. And thank you, Debbie Miller and Spencer, I see you back there. He does a lot with it, and Kim Funk does a lot with it, and it's a great program. And I guess the last thing I have to say is Thunder Up. So with citizens to be heard, Nadine Stripling. State your name and address, and you have 3 minutes.
Good morning. You may remember me from January the 13th, I think it was, trying to prevent my mom's house from going on resale, active resale. I have not had any progress with that at all. And I went to the city clerk's office and I found out I don't even owe it. So far as the lien goes, it says, I have a copy, a release of the lien right here. And I should not have been, and I don't want to use the word, and I don't want to sound really rude to say harassment and bullied into this, but that's what it's been, because this is actual. I didn't even have to pay the lien. You want to get a copy of that? Okay. It's really sad when people won't listen to you, and then they tell you, you got to do this and you got to do that. And then I was wanting to know, where is the evidence that I even owe this money? I couldn't find any evidence for them, so I went to the clerk's office, county clerk's office, and found this particular document. And it had the same exact account number as was on. And I also want to show that I paid, and also I'm going to add, when we talked back here the last time, they were saying, well, I know I talked with Chris Smith, and he was wanting me to come and sign some papers, but then he and Tammy Jones, they talked together, and Tammy wasn't there when I went back and I paid. They said, if you would pay the taxes, that we would decertify the 2022 cleaning. I have it written down because the lady that was the supervisor, Tammy Jones, was not there, but she copied it off of the computer and she wrote it down. And it said on here, pay the 2022 real estate, bring a copy of the receipt to the city, and show the real estate for 2022 is paid, and Chris Smith will decertify the 2022 cleaning. And the lady's name, she was the supervisor, her name is Cheryl Morris.
30 seconds.
And so I have a copy of that information. But really, honestly, they had Law Day Friday, and I was able to talk in 5 minutes, solve my problem. because they can't even do this on a reactive sale. They cannot even resell or active sale if you have a lien on your house. They can't do that. Anyway, but I'm covered either way it go, because I have a copy that has been released already, and I also paid the taxes, and I have a copy of my check right here proving that I paid it. And I think they owe me an apology for carrying me through all of this. I mean, by right, I could probably, I wouldn't sue, I don't believe in suing people. But when people do you wrong, they ought to admit it. And then Mr. Moses, he went and made up something, and then I said, could I get a copy of it? And he gave me a copy of it, and it says, Nadine Strickland Smith understand and fully acknowledge that she owed. He didn't even have an amount of money on the paper. And then, you know, Mr. Kamal, you told me, well, go ahead and sign it. But you know what? You got to look at things. You can't just sign. When I put my signature there, that means I owe it. And I didn't even owe it. I'd already paid it. So thank you. And I don't know who I need to talk to get this corrected, but let the record show that it's paid, and I got evidence. If I have to go to court, I will, because I have proof and evidence that it's thoroughly paid. Thank you.
Thank you,
Greg,
Ms.
is there someone from
Yeah,
staff that can speak to her?
Brock will meet with her. So, yeah, he'll meet with you afterwards, yeah.
And next is Steve Hunt.
All right, I'm Steve Hunt, and I'm now at 6300 Westbrook Drive, Ward Mark. James enjoyed being in Ward 2 for a little bit there. Lots to talk about. Before I do, just want to give a shout out to Mercy Hospital. I might look like I've been out partying at, thanks. Might look like I've been out partying in Bricktown, but I spent the evening and morning at Mercy Hospital with my father, and it's not looking good, but I just want to give a shout out to everybody there, Nurse Michelle and the others. Mercy Hospital is a Catholic nonprofit, one of the few healthcare institutions in the big league city that have not been taken over by private equity firms. You all know I've talked about Welltower Capital's destruction of the largest senior living facility in Oklahoma, on and on. But just want to thank them so much for what they're doing. It's incredible, the work. So lots to talk about. I guess with my time remaining, I want to go ahead and wind down my discussion on Main Street Sports Group, the Sinclair derivative that has been doing the Thunder broadcasts. To summarize, 2019, the Trump administration, when Fox was purchased by Disney, had to spin off the regional sports arm. And it's funny that no one critiques him for doing that, with them now going insolvent as they go after other people, but that's a tangent that I don't need to get into. They are now insolvent, and WARN notices were given out about 6 weeks ago to employees, and they've been running skeleton crews all over the country. And so they're done. $9 billion debt that they never paid, that they never intended in paying. And there's a lot to say about it, but I just want to conclude, this is my third time talking about it. No one said a word about it. My friend Mark and I were on Channel 5 about 6 weeks ago on behalf of the Lizzie Apartments that were owned by Cooper Street Capital in Colorado. They didn't have the liquidity to pay a $60,000 water bill. So what they did
30 seconds.
is they issued eviction notices to people if they didn't cover it for them. So the good people at the Izzy Apartments were held to monumentally higher standards than a firm that took a $9 billion loan and made people pay to watch the Thunder. And I have so many stories like this, but that one is just like, what are we doing? You know, there's so much pride in the Thunder, but the fact that so many people couldn't watch them, because of a big finance firm that literally took out a loan so that they could have the asset, and they never were going to pay it, and they never did. And Diamond Sports Group, AKA Bally, became Main Street Sports Group, AKA FanDuel, and the thing that they were going to do, just like we did in the days of the Penn Square Bank, they were going to sell that asset to a firm in UK, but they saw what a piece of explicit it was, and so now it's insolvent and it's being dissolved.
Steve, we're over time.
All right, I appreciate letting me go over. One last thing real quick. There's a million things I want to talk about, and I can't, but it's all in this amazing book by Clara Mattei, Escape from Capitalism. And people out in Channel 20 land, watching on YouTube, TikTok, wherever you watch on your distraction rectangle, check this out. This is an amazing book. James, I know you would love it too.
Thank you, Steve.
Thanks, everybody.
And we will recess for our executive session and be back shortly.